This is the second half of the 2.1 notes. We covered these on Thursday, and we looked at how to determine if something is a function or not. So on number 3, we have two equations, and we need to determine if it's a function. There's two ways to do it. Remember, no x can be repeated more than one time. So when I solve this thing for y, I get y all by itself. I get an equation that looks like this. If I plug in an x value, I'm just going to get one y value. So if I plug in, for example, 1, I plug in 1, and I square it, and I get -1, and then I get 3. If I plug in anything else, I'm always going to get one value. So this is a yes, because each x has one y value. It's a really tricky thing to understand, especially on part B over there. A faster way to do this is to make yourself a little graph, and you can use the calculator to graph it, although that's kind of tricky on part B. So if you ever have y equals something x squared, it makes a parabola, which hopefully right away you click that it is a function. Here's what this one looks like. And to do a vertical line test that your Algebra 1 teacher probably taught you, you draw a vertical line anywhere through the graph, and if it crosses only once, then it is a function. So up here, vertical line test. If any vertical line crosses a graph more than once, it is not a function. If it crosses only once, it is a function. So, part A is a function. Part B is tricky because that's really hard to type into the calculator. I'll show you how in class sometime. But just know if you ever have x squared and y squared, it makes a circle. And if you draw your imaginary vertical line, it crosses it twice. So no. Let me go back to purple. No, not a function, because vertical line crosses twice. If that bothers you because it's hard to type into the calculator, it is handy to know how to do it algebraically. So algebraically, I would subtract x squared and solve for y. So I subtract x squared, I solve for y, so I square root both sides, and when I square root both sides, I get plus or minus. Anytime you get plus or minus, that's an indicator that it is not a function. Each x has two y values. And if you still don't see why that's bad, pick a number for x. Let's pick an easy one. Let x equal 0. If I plug in 0, I get square root of 4, which is 2. So that means one answer is this, one answer is this, and that 0 just repeated twice, which is bad, not a function. So that plus or minus is the reason. right there. Anytime you get y equals plus or minus, that means it is not a function. That didn't happen on part A. It's 1 to 1. All right, let's look at number 4 real quick. We have a function, f of x equals x squared plus 3x plus 5. All you do is you plug in the number that's in the parentheses in place of x. So I'm going to put 2 right there and right there and see what I get. Anytime you're plugging in a whole number, you're going to get an actual answer. On part B, part C, we're going to get an answer, but it's going to have a bunch of x's in it. So we have 2, use parentheses when you plug in, especially when you have negatives. We get 4 plus 6 plus 5, so we get 15. Plug in x plus 3 anywhere there's an x. This part's a little messy. You'll have to FOIL that out. And make sure you distribute that 3 on that one, and then plus 5. So we've been doing this thing over and over again. Hopefully you got the shortcut down. If you don't have it down, you're going to have to FOIL it out. But here's the shortcut. Square the first, square the other one, multiply the 2, and double. So plus 6x. If you don't believe me, go to the side, write it twice, x plus 3, FOIL it out, and you should get that. Distribute that 3, we get 3x plus 9, and then a plus 5. Add like terms, looks like we get 9x and 23. Let's try negative x. This one's a lot easier. Use parentheses. Be careful with that. Negative x times negative x is x squared. Whoops, not a plus. 3 times negative x is minus 3x, and plus 5. A lot easier than part B. Hopefully that made sense. See you in class.